Hello?
Hey, may I speak to Dan, please?
This is Dan. How you doing, man?
Dan, what's going on? This is John. How are you?
I'm good, man. You're right on time, too. Look at you.
I'm punctual, man.
It's the Pup Fresh Podcast, Pup Fresh Podcast, Pup Fresh Podcast!
Welcome to the Pup Fresh Podcast, episode number 11. Later on in the show, I have an interview with John O'Callahan from the Maine. And if you want to skip right to the interview, just head to the description of this video, and I will have the start time to that. But before we get into all of that, I feel like I owe all of my loyal listeners, which I don't know if I have any, but I just feel like I should let you guys know where I have been for the past couple of weeks, why there hasn't been any Pup Fresh podcasts. I got into Game of Thrones. Yep, that's the reason. That's what happened. Oh man, yeah. I did the interview with Bo Boken of Bless the Fall, and then like 2 days after, I did the interview with Autumn Lavis, who is the ex-girlfriend of Front Porch Step. That following week, I decided not to have a show because I didn't want to take away the focus from the Autumn interview. Because honestly, if you're invested in the Front Porch Step situation in any sense, go back and listen to that one. It's very enlightening. And so that next week would have been my next show. I decided to start watching Game of Thrones. And listen, if you've never seen Game of Thrones before, you have no idea how addicting that thing can be. Like, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, then you get it. Like, when you start watching, you just become like a total nerd, and you become there's dragons and there's magic and there's cool politics stuff going on, and you're watching and you're total geek, and you're getting wedgies from people and swirlies, and all the jocks are making fun of you, but you don't care because you're in your own little world of like magic and cool battles and stuff like that. And I'll admit, I have 2 episodes left of the show, and so at this point, like, I've watched like almost 50 hours of Game of Thrones in like a couple of weeks, and I'm like a total, like, I have glasses that have tape in the middle on the nose, and everyone just making fun of me, and I'm total geek loser, and I sit alone at lunch now because of it. And it's just the reason that I wasn't podcasting is because I was too busy watching Daenerys Targaryen build an army, and watching Tyrion try to get over his family problems, and everybody wants to sit on top of the Iron Throne. And so that's what I was doing, is like I was trying to just get into the show. And it's tough because when you're watching Game of Thrones, you're not really thinking about pop punk music and podcasting and stuff like that. You're just thinking about Valyrian steel and how you're gonna get a good sword. Like, it's tough, man. Like, I don't know, but I'm back now. Listen, I'm back. I'm the Pup Fresh Podcast. We took a week off, we're back at it. Last night was the APMA Music Awards. I figured that for this I would critique that because I don't think that it went as well as it should have went. And to be completely honest with you, I didn't watch the show live. I was working, so instead of watching the APMAs, I should have been there actually. Last year I went to the APMAs and I had a great time. It was a really, really cool event, and I'm not saying that this year wasn't just as cool. I'm just saying that the production value of it was pretty atrocious. I watched some of the clips on YouTube, and the audio's not all synced up. There are random videos that aren't in like full screen HD. They're like black bars. The camera cuts are all weird. I just don't know if I think that for a live event setting it is perfect, but in terms of like you're getting it out to people, first of all, you're not streaming it in the US online. It's only on Access TV. Like, act like your event's gonna influence anybody to get Access TV. Like, how many parents are gonna be like, well, gosh darn, I better get the Access channel so I can go watch Jack and Alex. Well, maybe that's a bad example. I bet a lot of moms would want to watch Jack and Alex host it, but I'm just saying, I don't think that it's I don't think it's smart not to stream it online in the US. I also just don't think the production team that did it this year did a great job. And I'm speaking solely based off kind of what people have told me too. Like, I guess the first part of the show, the mics weren't working. They had to redo a skit. Like, it was a whole mess. And just maybe tighten things up on the production end, maybe outsource. I think it would be smart maybe if you have like Full Sail University take the reins, because they do so much cool stuff with production and things like that, and they're associated with like the Warped Tour community, being as they are the ones that do the acoustic basement tent. So I think that's like a viable option. And then even like if you look at like VH1 or MTV, take them and come have them film it, and you know, I just don't know if they did the best that they could in terms of production. And then the show in general, it has a cool concept, but you know, try and act like a fan voted award show is going to really, you know, hold any weight. I mean, I think that it's cool to have fan voting, and it's cool to give the fans a voice in certain settings, but I don't think that it's going to necessarily be as legitimate. Like you're taking yeah, the fans are what make the music, but at the same time, when it comes to like best vocalist, best guitar player, best drummer, like those awards are going to go to the people with the biggest fan bases. Like Zach and Ryan of All Time Low, I think won best bassist and best drummer. Not to say they're not great, but are they the best? And then are those like categories going to change from year to year? Like, is the best vocalist, best guitar player, best drummer, best bass player? I don't think that those things are going to change from year to year with a fan vote. I also think that they're too broad of categories. I think that maybe it would be smart to have like more specific examples of best vocalist, like best vocal performance in a song within the last year, best guitar solo in a song within the last year, best riff written, best bass line, best drum performance in the last year. It would be cool if they gave people behind the scenes a chance to have an award. I understand that that's not as glamorous or as marketable as some of the other awards, but try and act like a guitar tech isn't an important part of a performance for a band. Try and act like the lighting doesn't play a role, or the sound. You know, give some of those guys a chance to get an award, and have it industry voted, not fan voted. Have the merch guy have an award. Why the hell not? Merch is important, right? Yeah, it is very music focused. That's cool. I just, you know, with the fan voting and with the fact that the categories are too broad and not specific, I think that the show may have the potential to become predictable. I do like the awards, best music video, best breakthrough artist, things like that, because that's going to change from year to year. But, you know, Hayley Williams and Brendan Urie, they're going to be the best vocalists in the scene no matter what year we're in. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I know that I'm just nitpicking at this point, but whatever. And then obviously, you know, having Trey Cyrus at an award show just has proved to be a disaster. So if you hadn't watched yet, please go on Pup Fresh. We made a post about it, or just YouTube it. But Trey Cyrus came up on stage after, you know, to introduce a band performance. And when they came up, All Time Low, who were the hosts, Alex and Jack, made a joke about like, here comes up two guys that are like Pixar films because they something Disney stars, and they both make us cry. And All Time Low have a history of poking fun at Metro Station, and from what Trey said, this was like the last straw for him, pushed him over the edge. He came up and he's like, yo, I don't understand why you got to be disrespectful. It's disrespectful because we went on tour with each other. I don't understand why you got to give us so much disrespect. I'm Trey Cyrus. I'm not wearing a shirt. Look at my tattoos. I'm going to be somebody to talk about disrespect when I'm not wearing a shirt in an award show. I'm Trey Cyrus. And then he like let out a neigh or something, because the dude is honestly like a centaur or just a full on horse. But no, it was, you know, I understand. And here's me being like looking at it from both sides. I think that Trey Cyrus very well has a legitimate gripe if he is offended by the fact that All Time Low have been talking shit about them for years and years. But you got to look at it like this. Like, All Time Low also make fun of themselves. Like, the whole first opening skit of the show was them making fun of how Ryan and Zach are like the ones in the band that don't talk. And even outside of the APMAs, they always make jokes about like, you know, themselves. They're always like making mom jokes. They're always saying like, oh, haha, nobody cares about Ryan or whatever. Like, you know, it's an ongoing thing within like the fans community, and it's just the culture of the band in general. If you want to, you know, hash out that beef with All Time Low, I don't think that the APMAs is the best time to do it when you're on stage and you have all these people and all this attention around you, especially since All Time Low won Best Fan Base. And so there was a ton of fan backlash at Trey Cyrus because of what he said. And of course, the way that he defended himself wasn't like, oh, hey, sorry, I just kind of got caught up in the moment and was upset. No, he went online and posted pictures of him sitting in piles of money and was like, oh, well, you think that we're irrelevant? Haha, look how much money I have. Haha, I'm Trey Cyrus. Let's fight. And then he even was like, I wish that lawyers didn't exist because then I would be able to fight people without having to worry about being sued. Like, homie, why are you worried about being sued if you are sitting on piles of money? Like, what? Like, I don't understand it. And then he was posting pictures of his girlfriend saying, like, I'm so happy. Look how hot my girlfriend is. Like, dog, she isn't an object for you to, like, brag to us about in a way to kind of try to distract us from the fact that you're, like, an awful musician and human being. Like, yo, chill, man. You're handling this all wrong. And I think that that's kind of what made the fans upset more than anything else. I think that if he would have just left it at the fact that he kind of went up on stage and made an ass of himself, then that's all people could have made fun of. But, you know, after I got off work, I mean, I just shit talked Trey Cyrus online because it was so, I don't know. Like, if you go back to the Pup Fresh Twitter, we were saying some pretty mean shit, but he kind of deserved it because of the way that he was acting. It was very, very ridiculous. I don't get it. Why was he going up there and going on Twitter and tweeting the things he did? He tweeted a video saying, hey, come sign a waiver, I'll fight you. And he dropped the F-bomb like 9 times within 15 seconds. Like, Trey Cyrus, you need to calm down, dude. Like, all they did was make a little joke about you because it's easy. Like, it's learn to take a joke, essentially. And if you are sensitive to that kind of thing, don't try to call a band out on stage at an award show when you're not wearing a shirt. Like, there's better ways to go about handling those kind of situations, Trey Cyrus. And you know what? I'm not even going to make a joke about your sister or you know, your dad or your family or anything like that, because they have nothing to do with you. But man, you're something else, man. You're and then so we were making fun of him I was mostly making fun of him on Twitter because Willie did all the live show coverage and all the tweets for that, which is what I normally do. But again, I was working. I was selling shoes to people, and then I came home and I started making fun of Trey Cyrus, and he blocked us on Twitter. So now Pup Fresh is blocked by Ronnie Radke, Johnny Craig, Trey Cyrus, and Metro Station on Twitter. We are thriving. It's 2015, and I've never been more alive. Oh man! All right, it's time to get into the interview with John from the Maine. I hope that you all enjoy it. Here you go.
Pup Fresh Podcast!
All right, I got John from the Maine here on Skype, of all things, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I haven't used Skype all that often. I just remember, like, when I use it, sometimes it goes like kind of all aggro, and it like does the zzz, and it sounds like kind of like a Diplo song or something sometimes. So if my connection sucks, I apologize.
I always think, like, when I'm on like Skype interviewing a band or something like that, I almost feel like I had to like pay for something in a Kickstarter to earn this. But you know what I mean? It's it's weird to me, but yeah, man. What do you got going on right now? What are you going to the APMAs tonight? Is that?
No, I'm actually in Arizona right now. I just ate some breakfast and I worked out this morning. I was looking forward to watching the top 10 on SportsCenter, but they gypped me, man. I was like waiting for it, and then it was like dogs golfing or something like that. I don't know. So
you're a big sports guy?
Yeah, I love sports. I love most sports. I'm not like a huge bowling fan or like, you know, darts, but yeah, there's some
the core ones.
Like,
I'm a big basketball fan. You guys got a hell of a thing going on there in Phoenix with the Suns.
Yeah, I really love baseball, and that's not really shared with the rest of my band, unfortunately. And we don't really have that great of a team out here right now. But
hey, now early 2000s.
You got to stick with them. You know, that's part of the fun.
You had Luis Gonzalez. Y'all won a ring back in the day. You know what I mean?
Randy Johnson's getting inducted this week, I think.
There you go. Look at that.
We had our run.
And that was when you were growing up too. Were you always into sports?
Yeah, man. I played baseball pretty much my whole life until the end of high school. So It was like I was pretty into it. I did like the travel ball thing pretty competitively, and I don't know. It was a blast, man. I don't know. There's some form of camaraderie that's like, I don't know. I sense kind of bits of it with the band thing, but it's kind of a different dynamic. I don't know.
Well, like with a team, you're more so competing. With a band, you're just kind of, you're all working together doing your own thing.
Yeah, totally. It's not necessarily a competition at all, especially when you go out on the road, everybody's in it for the same thing and kind of, supposed to rally, behind each other. So I don't know. There was totally a sense of, that allegiance to your squad, to your team. I don't know.
So how then did you get into music? Because I know that you weren't in any bands before joining the Maine. What was kind of your introduction to that whole scene?
I think it actually was birthed even prior to me getting into like going to concerts and stuff. I don't come from like a musical family. Like nobody's really, besides my uncle and a few of my cousins, nobody's really into like, instruments or playing music. But my father is a huge music buff, and probably could be on like a competition, like a game show of like music knowledge. But growing up, it was always on. It was always a huge integral part of whatever we were doing, being outside as a kid and having music on out back. And So, hearing stories from him, I think, is what intrigued me early on, and hearing stories of him following Led Zeppelin on tour and doing stuff like that. And, I think that kind of initially sparked my interest. And then I had really great friends who I'm still really, really close with that they first introduced me to the whole concert kind of the idea of going to a show, and they all played in bands locally, and that became like a huge part of my life, going to shows and supporting what they did.
So this was probably back like 2004 to 2006 time frame, I'm assuming.
Yeah, 2001, I was in 8th grade. And the guys, my good buds, had been actually Eric from A Rocket to the Moon. He was in a local band here in 7th and 8th grade that we would go kind of see, out back at somebody's house. And like, if the parents were cool enough, they'd let us bring the PA over. And then the school let them play the assembly in 8th grade. And it was like, so 2001 and 2000 and beyond was really kind of us diving into it, and then kind of surfaced the whole, the whole piracy kind of age of music. And that's when I really started to find my own, favorite bands and to discover artists. And, that's like prior to mp3.com when people were doing LimeWire and Kazaa and, these things that are probably, will probably go over a lot of the listeners' head because they'll have no idea what these kind of sites were. Yeah.
I was my dad's house had a Kazaa. My mom's house had LimeWire.
There you go.
Just on the computers. I remember in 3rd grade, I would just download Limp Bizkit. And like, I don't know. So, those are just, two things that definitely, helped anybody get into music back in the day. Do you remember specifically like what bands kind of got you into the scene, as we saw it, like back, when you first started your band? Obviously you made mentions to things that your dad was listening to, but obviously that like classic rock thing is much more different than, what you guys were a part of.
Yeah, totally. Like going to shows, I saw North Star play way back in the day, like with Taking Back Sunday and The Starting Line. I saw Homegrown play with Millencolin in Mesa, which was an insane show. I think that might have been 8th or 9th grade. And that was like the first time that I crowd surfed and like, saw my buddies smoke pot and be like, oh my God, what's going on? And like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. There's a lot of bands. I mean, I don't know. There's records that like just kind of just sit with, like that North Star record. Both the North Star records, like for me, just really resonate still to today. There's a band called Honorary Title that I was really into.
Right on, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. My music selection and taste is so eclectic that like, it's pretty all over the place. But like just naturally, there's those staple records that, half of it is nostalgia and half of it, I believe, is craftsmanship of the work and solid tunes and solid execution. So. Yeah, I don't know. I have more fond memories of like, going to shows and being a part of that stuff. I remember seeing like Story of the Year, and there was a band called Letter Kills back in the day that we saw. And I don't know, I just, that's where my love for just live music and the whole experience really kind of blossomed. And fortunately, I've been able to be on both sides of the fence now, and I don't know. It's really, it's been very very special to be a part of the whole thing.
So when you joined the Maine, you guys were signed. Was it after the release of your first EP?
Yeah. I mean, we had released a few songs out of the gate, and I think that warranted some attention. And and then we kind of re-recorded a few songs and then put out an EP with Fearless.
So back when that was like you would probably use MySpace back in the day to get those songs out and to be heard. Definitely. And things like that. Being that was your first band and everything, was it kind of, do you remember what it was like to be approached by the labels or just get any of that attention in general?
As far as the attention goes, just on a personal level, it was extremely, uncomfortable because I always felt like I was, and I still feel like I'm very introverted, but only to a point where you spend enough time with me and you kind of understand who I am. But like in high school and stuff, it was, I felt like I tiptoed the line of like, coming out of my skin a little bit and like actually showing people who I was, but only to a certain degree. Like I still feel that way, like about a lot of things. But yeah, the label attention, it was such a weird kind of experience. And even though the other guys had been in bands, it was the first time any of us had really, experienced anything like that, on such a, I guess, professional level. So it took us all by surprise, and we were kind of thrown in the deep end and just kind of, forced to swim ourselves.
When I think of you guys back then as opposed to now I see, over the past few releases and everything like that, you guys are like true musicians, and I think the music speaks for itself. Do you think back in the day it was more image based, or have you always had the music mindset of like, hey, we are like, playing rock and roll music, we're doing our thing, the only thing that matters is the music, everything else follows?
Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
I guess, to be honest, I don't think, not that I completely do now, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, to be honest. It was the first time I had ever written songs, like for let alone myself, but for anybody to hear, so it was like, I didn't know what I was doing. And it's like, how about like think of the things that had gone through your mind when you were 18 years old, like, and then try to think of like not knowing how to write songs, and then trying to like communicate like fucking existential, like, identity crisis that you're having,
Right.
whilst like trying to write songs. And I don't know, it was like, I think bottom line is, fortunately for us, is that we've been allotted the time to kind of figure all this out on our own, and with the help and support of the people that dig what we do. And I've gotten to a point where it's like, now we're all embracing like 100% the musical aspect of everything. And we actually talked about it yesterday. We just wrapped up recording some stuff that we're going to be releasing here soon. But we were just sitting and kind of shooting the shit and just kind of, talking about the APMAs and stuff, and just like the scene that for all intents, we did our damnedest to kind of distance ourselves from for a while there. And it was not because we didn't enjoy, the friends that we had made on the road or the scene that we were a part of. It was just honestly trying to figure out who we were as a band without the help of, our peers. So now, we were talking about it. It's like, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. And it's like, we were a gimmick, and we were a bunch of matching outfits. And now, I am proud to say that we are a band. And, I don't think that you can just put us in the category. I mean, of course we've done the Warped Tour, but we're not a Warped Tour band. Like, and we would love to do it again, but I don't think you can just write us off that easily. We've kind of lived longer than a lot of the bands that we started out touring with. And I think that it's a testament to the people that recognize that, we're working towards something and working towards finding ourselves and our sound. And like I said, we're just so fortunate that we've had the opportunity to be a band for so long.
I think that a lot can be said too about the fact that you really didn't know what you were doing. It was your first time really going at it, yet you still had success. And it's good to know that like you're at least aware, and you do feel fortunate, because maybe a lot of other bands could take that sort of thing for granted. And what are your like opinions now? Because you said that you kind of distanced yourself from all of that. And you would be willing to do like a Warped Tour in the future. What are you thinking of like the state of the Warped Tour now, if you've been like aware of all of the controversy as of late?
I'm not really keen on the controversy. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
But we did the Warped Tour last year, and it was we were 5 years removed from having done it. And I would say that it was pretty similar to the experience that we had the first go around. Yeah, I mean, the greatest part about that tour for me is the ability to play for those people that won't spend the money to go see you on your own. I feel like you have such an amazing opportunity to captivate a large amount of people in 30 minutes that wouldn't normally go see you. Now, as far as like the antics and politics and whatever, I don't really necessarily concern myself with that. It's like we've had such a great time both times that we've been on it, that it's like, I mean, if you're just an all right dude, I mean, or dudette, I mean, you're going to be just fine and you're going to have a great time. But if you're a ding dong and you're just acting like a knucklehead, I don't know, man. Like,
right.
Those, it's like high school. Like, just go to detention or something. I don't know, like whatever, man.
So is like that whole like concept of all of these people are going to come see us that maybe normally wouldn't pay for it, is that kind of what went into your recent decision to embark on the Free for All tour, which is free?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this specific concept has been floating around for years now for us. Um, and, before we couldn't do it because we were on a label and there's no way that a label would allow us to do something like that, and yada, yada. But, now that, now I mean, we just got off our headlining tour with Real Friends and Knuckle Puck and Technicolors, and we felt like, that was a departure for us, and going on tour with bands like Real Friends and Knuckle Puck, because they brought that youthful, like that pop punk sound that we hadn't been associated with in a while, and I felt like that really made a lot of sense for us. And we made great friends with all those guys, and coming off that, we wanted to kind of keep the momentum going, but we never really want to kind of, duplicate our moves and kind of just photocopy what we've been doing. And that's the kind of thing that I feel like we've tried to distance ourselves from too, is like these reoccurring tours. And there's a lot of bands, and I won't name any names, but because it's apparent, but bands just run the same circuit. And it's like, I saw that show in the spring, and now that same tour minus one band is going back out on tour in the fall. And it's like, I mean, what are you really doing? All you're really doing is like, you're trying to make the most money you can right now, and it's like, I don't know. For us, it's never about the money. It's about the experience, and it's about, delivering something unique each time we go out. So sometimes it means kind of maybe not touring as much, or just departing from the norm for us is really important. So for this free tour, it's been an absolute nightmare for our manager to book, to be honest. So, because we're not, essentially what we're doing is we're renting the venue. So we're paying to play pretty much, in a lot of places. We've been fortunate with a few that have like said, oh yeah, we'll just, you guys can just play on this outdoor stage. But when we actually get down to the bones of it all, we're going to have to build the stage ourselves. We're going to have to build the PA. We're going to have to put the barricade up. We're going to have, we're doing all the work. But I feel like, it's really important to give back to the people, again, that have allowed us to make music and to create music for the last 8 years. Hopefully the goal is more people that wouldn't normally go to the Maine's concert are going to come out. But I think when it all is said and done, it's really to repay those people that have gone to, countless number of shows on the same tours, traveled the freaking world to go see us. So yeah, I mean, that's really essentially what it boils down to is kind of giving back to those people that have given us so much.
So in terms of like the band making money, which isn't a concern for you, but I'm assuming that there's going to have to be some sort of like crew and things like that, or just, are you at least going to have merch for the fans to buy, think like a donation bin, anything like that? Or are you just strictly looking to like, you don't want to pressure anybody into that. You just want to focus on the good time and the free music.
Yeah, man. I mean, we're going to still do the merch thing and still, we don't want to pressure anybody into feeling like, guilted into like paying for like a ticket or whatever. We do have a thing on Square it's called cash.me or something like that. But if you go to wearethemaine.net, there is a place that you can kind of donate, and you can hook it up with gas money or whatever. So go to wearethemaine.net if anybody wants to help pay the crew and pay for the stage and pay for the venue and yada yada. But again, we don't want to make it feel like it's free. Just kidding. Right. It's free, but hey, you have to pay. You know what I mean? So. For us, we know that this won't be a lucrative tour. But that's, like I said, that wasn't part of the plan to begin with.
You going to be in a van for this tour? Or are you doing a bus?
We're doing a bus just because we need all the hands we can get.
Yeah.
So all the bunks are going to be filled. We're going to have 12 people out on the bus. So it's not as an extensive run as we've done in the past. So, I think that it's just going to be for as much work as we're going to have to put into it. I'm hoping that people are going to really dig it. And again, just, maybe there's there are those friends that like, hey, I'm going to see the Maine. Oh, fuck the Maine. The Maine sucks. Whatever. I would never go see him. Hey, it's free. Oh, okay, whatever. I'll go,
Right.
like I'll go have some beers and listen to, a band that I don't care about, whatever. You know what I mean? So,
right.
And then that's where we are going to, push ourselves to deliver hopefully something that people will care about and will convince people that we might not be that same band from 8 years ago. And we have actually put the work in over the past 8 years and shifted the focus from, lesbian haircuts and matching outfits to, to music and like having a great time on stage and playing high energy music.
Is there going to be any kind of support on those shows, or is it just you?
We are going to have an opener, and we're actually ironing out that right now. We definitely wanted to just make it known, though, that it was, that it was us, but there will definitely be music prior to us. We just haven't ironed out completely all the dates yet. So we'll definitely be announcing that soon, hopefully way soon. But yeah. Definitely an opener.
I wanted to follow up about the comment you made about the same bands running the same circuits, the same thing over again. I think it's real interesting that you realize that, because that's actually been something that's bothered me for a long time. And again, not naming bands' names or anything like that. Even the bigger bands in the scene going like it has like a trickle down effect to where like smaller bands, it's just friends and the same run every time. I almost feel like in a way that limits the smaller bands from growing because they're not given the same opportunities. So are you kind of like looking to help out, or do you have like a mindset to where you want to take like a smaller band and maybe give them an opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I think fundamentally it's like just first and foremost being a fan of music and thinking about like the bands that I would pay to go see. It's like, if I'm going to go see freaking Ryan Adams go play a concert, and I know that now Ryan Adams went on tour with whatever, and then Ryan Adams goes on tour again in the fall with whatever. It's like, and then goes on tour in the spring. You know what I mean? It's just like, why would I pay the money that I work for to, you know what I mean? Like to go see the same show that I don't know. So for us, it's really important that we, again, deliver a new lineup every time and something fresh. I mentioned on that Real Friends Knucklebuck tour, a band called the Technicolors, and they're a band that has been around, especially locally in Arizona for a while now. But they just started working with our management company at 8123, and they're an incredibly talented group of dudes. It was actually really awesome to see how much that they took advantage of that tour that we just did with them, and the way they interacted with people that came to the show, and just chatted about music, and I don't know, just I could sense that people dug what they were doing and the energy that they were putting into what they were doing. So, there's always stuff that it's really actually kind of strange to think about it in terms like that. Like we can actually help somebody, get a foot in the door or even just a toe in the door. Because we were not too long ago that band, that would take all the help that we could get and, struggled from getting to city and, I don't know, toured in a Suburban. And I don't know. It's like, it's so strange and surreal and humbling to think about us, being in this position. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely groups that we would love to aid if they wanted to. I don't know. I'm not sure.
So the new album American Candy is out now.
Yeah.
It's been received. I have not heard one person say a bad word about it. I hear a lot of like bands within the music community actually liking you guys and saying that you guys are almost the standard, and you've kind of been such for, I'd say that the last few album cycles where bands see you live and say, this is a legitimate band, this is where I want to be. Do you see that a lot, or are you kind of like unaware of the fact that like, you still have like so many like bands, even well-established ones, looking up to y'all?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really, I guess it's not really on my radar.
Yeah, I
don't know. I guess, yeah, I don't know. I think that
I didn't mean to hit you with that, but listen, John, you are like the bar. You've set it so high, and everybody.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and suck my own. It's like, to be honest, again, I'm very, very humbled by that notion in itself. But I think that when we kind of decided for ourselves, and it was really after that second record that we put out with Warner, I think when we decided that, hey, like, this is literally in our hands, like it should have nothing to do with this fucking 40-year-old at a record label that has never been in a band and knows dick about writing music. It should have nothing to do with him. It should be about us. It should be about the people that digest our music. I think that that's it. It should be about the music and the people that dig it. And as soon as we decided to put our foot down and realize that it's okay to tell these people to fuck off, I think that was really, the turning point for our band. And to be honest, again, like even within the past 3 records, we're honestly making this shit up. Like we're we get like a lucky break here and there. And like, for Pioneer, we got to record in El Paso, thanks to Tony at Sonic Ranch. And, got like, these amenities that are like insane at our fingertips. And fortunately we've built this relationship with this dude out of Nashville that we just put on a plane yesterday back home, Colby Wedgeworth, who's like a badass producer that is really, more of a friend than a producer. And we've built such a great relationship with him that we kind of, I don't know, we feel like we're pretty in sync. That's a terrible ref or word.
Choice of wording, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. It's like, that's really cool to hear that might be the case. But hopefully, if we can convey anything, it is that you can say no to these fucking people that are ultimately all they're looking to do is make money off of you. And the sooner you realize this, the better you'll be. It's like, I don't know. It's such a weird time for music too. It's like, if we were a band starting out, it's like, I don't know how we'd go about doing it, but 100% we'd do it differently than we did, in the past. So
it would probably be like YouTube cover videos. I think that's
yeah, right.
That's the route these days.
I mean, shit, we'd be a whole lot bigger if that's all we did. I tell you that much.
So again, new album American Candy's out now. The fall tour's coming up. It's free, everybody. Why wouldn't you go check it out? John, I really appreciate your time, man. Always been friendly to the site, always made yourself available to us, so thank you for that. Is there any last things that you feel like you want to plug or say?
Oh man, look out for my mixtape. It's coming out. No, I just want to say thank you, not only to you, but to everybody at Pup Fresh, everybody that's supported anything that we've done over the past 8 years, or or even those that don't support us. You're trying to have us make you believers out of us. The tour also, we're doing some shows intermittently during that tour, the free tour. We're playing that new record, American Candy, from start to finish, and some smaller clubs. So again, wearethemaine.net for more info. That's the only thing I'm really going to plug. But I have a new brand of hair product coming out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, man. Again, Dan, thank you very much for having me. It was cool talking to you, and I hope you have a good rest of your week, good weekend.
No problem, brother. Thank you very much.
Take care, man.
Yeah, bye. Wow, thank you for listening to the whole thing. You are such a trooper. Look at you. If you enjoyed that interview, then maybe, just maybe, you will enjoy the other interviews that the Pup Fresh podcast has had thus far. If you go back and listen to the other shows, you could find interviews with artists such as State Champs. Huh? Who doesn't like State Champs, huh? As It Is. Yeah, As It Is. They just got announced for the AP tour in the fall. Sierra from Versa Emerge, where she opens up about the band. Huh? Bo of Bless the Fall. Huh? Sounds like a pretty good time to me. And if you want to listen to those interviews, head on over to youtube.com/pupfresh, or you could subscribe to us on any podcast platform that honestly, it's just iTunes, I think. So if you have the iTunes app, we're on iTunes, and we're also on SoundCloud, which is a good time. And if you want to let us know your opinions, I think the best way to do that is to tweet at PupFresh, and especially if your opinion is a positive one, because I don't like hearing negative things about me. I'll block you like Trey Cyrus blocked me. No, I'm just kidding. Tweet us whatever you think of the show, and honestly, I am looking to improve it and bring more of what you want. Thank you again for listening. My name is Dan. I never know how to end these things. Usually the music.
It's the Pup Fresh Podcast, Pup Fresh Podcast, Pup Fresh Podcast.